Good morning. Today is the 17th of October 2023 and we're going to go through some levels today. So we've had a Fed speaker at 8 a.m. today, and we've had retail sales at 8:30, and we saw a bit of a dump in the market since that candle. It's still dumping now by the looks of it. And anything else of high importance? So we've got quite a lot today. 9:15 we've got some industrial manufacturing news. We've got more Fed speakers. 9:20, 10 a.m. inventories, and we've got Fed speakers at 10:45 as well, and 2 o'clock. So basically all the news today, which you see on there, could lead to the market being pretty volatile. So it might be maybe not a great day for trading. It might just bounce around, but we'll see. So just bear that in mind. Just make a note of the times today. High importance. The highest important one that's already happened at 8:30, retail sales. But still quite a lot. Okay, so on my screen is the MES or the ES chart, which is the S&P index futures. Currently looking at the hourly time frame, and a few levels I've put in have already invalidate themselves. So let's just do a quick live review. This is the reason why I wait and look at my levels after 8:30, after the data drops, because we get such big moves sometimes, like this move here, and any levels I had in place are no longer valid. So I'm just going to quickly make an assessment. Okay, so we're coming into an area right now which is 43.72. That's a high risk bounce area. Bearing in mind we are looking pretty bearish. I drew this channel in earlier, and we were in this channel running along it, and then we finally broke through it. So we're looking pretty bearish today. These lines here, I'll explain that in a minute, but it's to do with the 8:30 candle, which I'm just doing some back testing, some research on. First thing to note is we had this head and shoulders pattern, and the neckline was around 4400 based on this middle pivot, which we kind of initially worked, and now it's back down. So this pattern is now invalid, so we won't be looking at that any longer. One thing I'm watching for though is a pullback to this area here, and I wouldn't mind getting in on the break and retest of this channel for a short play down, so the continuation of this trade down. So that's kind of an area I'm watching. The 50 moving average will be joining up, will be in that area as well eventually by the time we get there as well. So there's a few things lining up. So retest of the channel, the 50 moving average, and we're coming back into the top of this supply area, which is at 43.85. But the area I'll be watching will be the 43.85, this area here. And I'll explain the white line in a second as well, but that may be significant as well. So that's my first rejection, and that's the one I really want to watch for today. If we see the market continue down further, then I'll be looking for a bounce, maybe as the 200 moving average comes up into the 43.65 area. That is an area of consolidation. We consolidated here, going back, was that the 10th, and then we had a bit of indecision there, and a kind of a high concentrated volume there in the pre-market. So potentially this is an area we could see a bounce, and especially if this 200 rising 200 moving average comes up into that area as well. So 43.65.50 is an area I'm waiting for a bounce. That's my next higher probability area. So there's two: the break and retest of this level, 43.85, and for rejection and the bounce at 43.65 down to 43.60, this entire area. In fact, we're in an area of demand as well, so be looking for a confirmation in that area as well. So confirmation will be something like this: bottom tail, and then a big bottom tail, possibly hopefully on bigger volume as well, and then the break of that candle. And obviously you want it to be above the 200 and at the level we're waiting for. So a few areas of confirmation. So that's the main area I'm watching for. If we see market buying and we can get over this area, we could potentially look for a reject off the top of this channel, 43.95. However, the channel's broken below and we've honoured this level for a few hours today, since yesterday actually. It was around about midday. And again, if we break out through this channel, I'll be looking for the short will be at 4,400 again, because that's been a significant area. Yesterday we were sitting on the 4,400 line before we broke down, and then we used it as the ceiling. But then I'll be looking for break and retest long. This is the area to watch for, 44.10, and an area we've not been able to break through. We tried last week, and we tried again a few times last week. We finally did get through, but it didn't hold too long, came back down, and we weren't able to get through it yesterday despite some big buying pressure, and we couldn't crack 44.10. So 44.10 again is an area to watch for a rejection, and that is probably as much as I'm going to be watching for today. Keep it simple. Let me just go into what these grey and white lines mean on the 5-minute chart. So every day there's major data, drops at 8:30. I've been marking it off using this fibs indicator. All I'm interested in is the top and bottom and the 50% line. And you can see today it played out again. This is the 8:30 candle on high volume as well. So remember, this is high volume, and we're going to bear that in mind, because that means the market is having followed through with the news. So I'm not sure what the news was, whether it's good or bad. Obviously it doesn't look great, but anyway, so I marked off the 50% area, and look at that, it came back in, touched the 50% and rejected it. And that's not a one-off, that's the last. I've been definitely, I think almost all of them have done that for this month. All the 8:30 day drops on. I need to go back through and actually write down my results. I'm just eyeballing it, and I removed all these indicators because they were cluttering up the screen. But I'm going to go back through properly and back test this. But we got a potential pre-market play. Always in the pre-market, it seems to come back to the 50% before it rejects. We've not had any candles where we've seen positive news yet. I want to see whether on a positive day it comes back down and pushes that way. But also I'm keeping an eye on the tops and bottoms of this data candle to see whether that has any significance during the day as well. For example, we could see a reversal. It may come back into that area and bounce before coming into the 50 and bounce or something. But that's something I'll be watching over the next few months, and I just want to back test. I'm going to put it down in a spreadsheet what it does. But that's it really. So I just wanted to make you aware, so you can ignore these for now, but I'm keeping an eye on them, and it would have worked again today. 50% seems to be pretty significant, and not sure if it's a coincidence. The 50% area is also the break and retest area off of that channel. So I didn't take it because I wasn't really watching it in the pre-market. I really wanted to come back and retest it in the actual when the market's open. So that's what I'm watching for. But I may consider this area and just layer in with a couple of contracts, just to get the position in case we see a rejection before we get back up to the 50%. So that's what I'm watching for today, and that's going to be my play. Okay, so go back to the hourly. Looking at SPY, very similar. We've got this big area at 433, which I marked off as a daily area, and it looks like it could be bouncing off of that and off the bottom of this supply zone. In fact, that's 431 is a potential bounce area at this gap fill. 433.27 was an area I was watching, but we're at that point now. When I put these levels in, when when we put these levels in, and the market was around here at the time. In fact, I was looking at levels about here, and at the time before that would have been a great place, but we're there already, and it's a bit risky right now to stay close to it. So for a bounce, watching this area here, 431 to 430.50, this entire area. For a rejection, 436.87, that area is a higher probability rejection. 437, maybe we've got this area of confluence as well, so potentially we could watch 435.50 for a rejection. In fact, that's not a bad area. You can see we've got tops of candles here. Yesterday during the day we couldn't quite break through it. I know we had a couple of breakdowns, but that's an area where congested volume is, and it's the tops of these candles, bottoms of these candles, tops of these candles. I'm sure if I go a bit further, it's of further significance. So 435.55 is a higher probability, but with confirmation rejection area. So that's an area to watch for. So I think that's it really. Yeah, so we're watching for a bounce here. This is a higher risk bounce right now, and this is a higher probability but with confirmation rejection, and this is a rejection area. So 437, 435.55, 433.25 and 431 area. Okay, so let's look at Qs. Okay, so we've got this area of confluence is out right now. Let's put that in, and I'm basically just looking at the tops of these candles and bottoms of these candles, and then tops of these candles again. So we're at a high risk bounce area right now. We've got a higher probability bounce area of 364.50, and that's just, we've got the 200 moving average just below as well, and we've got a bit of higher volume in that area as well. So we've got natural congested volume, which could act as natural resistance. Rejection wise, quite like this area here, 370. We've used this area a few times. Higher concentrated volume in that area as well, and our stop loss could be at 371.10, so just above that pivot. So that's a nice defined rejection and stop loss area there. So quite a big stop loss. You could make it the top of that pivot there, which is 370.50. 370.50 would be a good stop loss if you wanted a higher risk stop loss, or give it a bit more room, that one there. And that's it. And obviously we get up to 372.80 area, 372.90, then we've got this double top we could reject from as well. Going into Qs, NASDAQ. So we've got this head and shoulders pattern formed here. You could say that's the shoulder, or maybe that's the shoulder. The neckline, this area here, sorry, rubbish drawing. And we did break through the neckline area yesterday, came back up, and then, or a few days ago, and then we couldn't quite break back over this right hand shoulder area, and we've rejected. So interesting to see where we are right now. We're right on the 200 moving average and a level we've previously identified, which is 15,165, 15,165, this area here. And this is a potential bounce area. We've got tops of these candles, bottoms of these candles, tops of these candles, and even though the volume is not as high in that area, it's an area of confluence, and we've got the 200 rising 200 moving average in this area. That we've broken down through it actually, but so this is a high risk bounce, this area. If you're looking for a high probability bounce, it's got to be along here, bit of air congestion, a higher volume as well, so 50, and it's a nice round number as well, so 15,000 exactly, that area. I've got 15,002. See, I don't look at 15,000, I just look, I literally look at the levels and where I feel the level is, I put it in. It's just coincidence is at 15,000, you know, all that area. So 15,001, so let's just say 15,000. So this is an area, higher probability bounce area, nice round number as well. That's all I'm watching for that really. Oil. So I had a nice swing trade on oil which I got out of yesterday. So my entry, as you know, I missed that break up because I saw this pivot come in, and on the daily it was a lovely reversal candle and I wanted to get in there, but it gapped up the next day, so I waited patiently 3 or 4 days and it came back and I got in at this area here. In fact, I used the USO ETF because my Apex account you can't hold trades overnight. Well, you can if you wanted to come out at 5 PM and then get back in at 6 PM when the futures market reopens. So I just used USO and I got a perfect entry, and yesterday I got out as it pulled back a bit, and I got out on the pullback about there, or the equivalent on USO, and so pretty much a decent trade, and I'm glad I got out because we've actually fallen down a little bit more and now we're below the 50 moving average. I still think it's got movement on the upside, and you know, we're just going sideways for a few days and we're in this area of demand and we've bounced off of that area, and I did consider holding it, but it was a 7-day contract which expires at the end of this week, so I wanted to get out yesterday, or today would have been the very latest. But my out was good. I'm looking for a re-entry as well, possibly looking for a continuation of the run up. I may look to go long if we can break out over that area with a potential target of 90. That could also be a day trade as well, so 87.80 as a potential break area with a target at 89.75 to 90 area. Let's see if we see a big day today. As for a bounce, obviously we've had this double bottom now, or almost a double bottom. It's a higher low as well, which is why it still looks strong. And even though we're on a bit of a downtrend there, if you look at the daily, we're not in a downtrend, we're in an uptrend. So we're just going through a bit of a pullback in the daily uptrend. Hence why I think we're going to see a bit of movement, possibly pushing it up. This is the area to try and get out of. So 93.30 is the area we want to see it get out of, and then we've got highs of 115 a barrel, which is good if you're swing trading long, not so good if you need to fill up your car. Anyway, so going back to the hourly, I think that's it really. That's all I'm waiting for. I'm looking for another entry for a swing either there, or if we pull back down a bit, possibly at the bottom we could see a treble bottom for a move back up. And obviously we've got our natural stop area, so if we do go long we can stop out at $81 or thereabouts, 81.50, and then look for another entry later. But I still think oil's long at the moment. And day trade wise as well, I think if we can come back up into this area, 87.80 might be worth thinking about it as a scalp rejection. So we see a double top here. We could just see a bit of sideways action before it makes a break. It could also break the other way as well. So that's potentially what I'm watching, this area here. Okay, so I'll just open up, leave MES open again with my levels. And see where we are in the last few minutes. You know, we're just going sideways for a bit now. So just to recap what I'm watching for today, I'm looking for it to get back up to this area, which is 43.85 area for rejection, and with big move down, so I want to see a bit of a pullback into the 50 moving average for a reject back down. And if we're going to bounce, it's around the 43.56 area for a potential bounce, 43.50, and then another rejection area will be 44.10 and 44.25. These are the areas I'm watching for. Okay, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button as well, especially if this has helped you. And if you have any comments, then let me know as well.